In today's build, I want to focus on dialogue prowess and exploration rather than combat efficiency. While the build still is able to provide good support during battles, the main priority is to consistently unlock all those unique options during conversations. Options that sometimes let you avoid combat altogether. And if you're looking for something else or want an easy overview to follow when leveling up, then don't hesitate to check out my build spreadsheet in the descriptions below. Usually I avoid making recommendations for race and background because these choices have limited impact on a build in the long run. Today, I do want to highlight some particular choices though, since skill proficiencies are quite important for the build. In terms of race, both humans and half-orcs are a good choice. Humans gain a free skill proficiency, while half-orcs get intimidation as a locked-in bonus. Both of these races thus allow me to boost one of the skills I'm especially interested in. As background, I suggest picking Guild Artisan to unlock proficiency in Persuasion and Insight. Two more skills I want to be an expert in going forward. When it comes to abilities, I first push both Charisma and Wisdom to 16. Charisma is a spell casting ability for bards, which improves a lot of things for me, and it is also used in most of the dialogue checks I'm trying to excel in. Wisdom, on the other hand, allows me to boost things like Insight to make sure I don't miss out on any lies or subtle hints during conversations. Wisdom also gives the build a bit more protection during combat by improving my own Wisdom saving throws. I then pick 14 Dexterity to allow for some efficiency with finesse and ranged weapons, but even more so to get a bonus on my initiative and armor class. This is then followed up with 12 in Constitution to spend the remaining points. Strength and Intelligence I keep at 8 while planning to get the 17 Intelligence headpiece from the Ogres during Act 1. Next up are skill proficiencies, the bread and butter for this build. I definitely want proficiency in Insight, Deception, Intimidation, and Persuasion. All of these can be relevant during conversations. Insight and Persuasion I already have from the Guild Artisan background, so I choose the other two first. As a bard, I then also choose proficiency in Performance, as well as Acrobatics. The latter being relevant to get some resistance against being shoved, for example. When it comes to the cantrips, I pick Friends first to unlock another option during dialogues. The second choice is up to personal preference then. Personally, I pick Minor Illusion here as a means to distract enemies without having to perform myself. For the spells, I want to look at utility and support rather than pure damage, which is often the case in other builds. My first pick is Disguise Self, as this allows me to still use Speak with Dead on enemies that I killed myself. Even if they have something to say, they otherwise refuse to speak to you quite often. My second choice is Speak with Animals to ensure that I don't miss out on any dialogue options in that direction. There are so many animals to talk to in the game, and even without playing a dialogue-focused bard, it's almost always worth to ensure you don't miss out here. Next up is Fairy Fire to make enemies visible and provide attack roll support for the rest of the party. And last but not least then is Dissonant Whispers as a damage spell that also might apply Frighten to the enemy. Starting instrument can be chosen freely. I personally prefer the soundscape of the lute though. At level 2 I get some additional health, which is true for all future levels as well. I also get Jack of all trades, which grants me half of my proficiency bonus rounded down on any ability checks without proficiency. After getting the 17 intelligence headpiece from the Ogres, this does lead to some decent bonuses for the intelligence-based skills as well. This level up also grants another level 1 spell slot and the Song of Rest action. Song of Rest basically acts like a third short rest, allowing the group to possibly go on a bit longer before requiring another long rest. As my next spell, I personally choose Tasha's Hideous Laughter here because of the prone status effect. It's always good to have some crowd control options in the toolbox. At level 3, I first pick College of Lore as a subclass. This also grants Cutting Words, which is a reaction that subtracts the value of a dice roll from the attack roll of the enemy, possibly turning a successful hit into a miss. College of Lore also grants me 3 additional skill proficiencies. Here I pick Perception, Arcana, and Investigation. Around level 3 or 4, I'm also powerful enough to then kill the Ogres and get that 17 intelligence headpiece in order to properly support the proficiency in Arcana and Investigation. I also get to double down and become an expert in 2 of my proficient skills, and this is where I choose Insight and Persuasion. The level 2 spell of my choosing is Detect Thoughts, as it adds even more options to my arsenal during dialogues. At level 4, I get to choose another cantrip and pick Vicious Mockery. With its disadvantage on attack rolls, it can provide some nice utility and might even do a bit of damage on its own. As my next spell, I choose Enhance Ability, which grants me advantage on ability checks during dialogue as long as I choose Charisma as the desired ability. Going for Enhance Ability at level 3 and then picking Detect Thoughts here at level 4 instead would also be a valid choice. As my first feat, I then pick Ability Improvement and boost my Charisma to 18, considering its importance for ability checks during dialogue. At level 5, I get a level 3 spell slot and 2 Bardic Inspiration bonuses. The first is Font of Inspiration, allowing me to replenish my inspirations after long and short rests rather than just long rests. The second is Improved Bardic Inspiration, which increases the bonus from 1d6 to 1d8. As my next spell, I pick Cloud of Daggers, since it is a very useful and strong combat spell. I do want to highlight though that this means that the Speak with Dead spell ideally is unlocked differently, as you don't want to miss out on conversations with the dead. One option is to get the necklace in the tomb right next to where withers can be found early on in Act 1. At level 6, I get Counter Charm, which helps to protect myself and any allies close by against charmed and frightened effects. The choice of spell is more or less up to personal preference here. It can be a good idea to pick Speak with Dead though, if not done already, as it would allow you to equip a different necklace, in case that was the solution to unlock the spell so far. When it comes to the 2 magical secrets, I personally pick Spirit Guardians, since it's overall an incredibly powerful spell and might help to keep melee attackers at a distance. I then also pick Magic Missiles because access to something with a 100% hit chance is always good to have. At level 7, I get a level 4 spell slot. The choice of spell is more or less up to personal preference. I like to pick Dimension Door as it gives me some survivability of sorts while also allowing me to rescue an ally in need if necessary. At level 8, I get another level 4 spell slot and personally pick Plant Growth for additional control on the battlefield. This is not mandatory though. There are lots of other options that would be fine to pick as well. More importantly at this level is the second feat, allowing me to get +2 charisma once more and bring my main ability to the maximum of 20. At level 9, I get level 4 and level 5 spell slots. I also get to choose one more spell. The choice of spell is completely up to personal preference here. I pick Featherfall, keeping a focus on dialogue and exploration in mind for the build overall. At level 10, I get another level 5 spell slot, and my Bardic Inspirations are improved even further, now granting 1d10 instead of 1d8. I also get to double down on 2 more skill proficiencies, choosing Intimidation and Deception here myself. The choice of cantrip doesn't matter much, but personally I choose Mage Hand here, as it can be useful both during and outside of combat. While spell choice doesn't matter much either here, I do pick Dominate Person. When it works, it can really turn things around by not only removing an enemy temporarily, but also adding another ally at the same time. Magical Secrets then unlocks a range of amazing choices again, while unfortunately only allowing me to pick 2 of them. Personally, I go for Conjure Elemental for some more added power during combat. My second pick is Grand Flight for improved exploration, although it can be quite useful during combat as well. At level 11, I get to choose one level 6 spell and do prefer Otto's Irresistible Dance if taking any level 6 spell at all. And then at level 12, I get to pick another spell, choosing Polymorph for some additional crowd control. To finalize the build, I also get to pick one last feat. There are lots of valid choices, given that Charisma is already at 20. My choice though here is Warcaster. Warcaster helps me with not losing concentration during combat, and it adds another reaction to my arsenal. Being able to do things outside my own turn is never a bad thing. With this build, even early on, many dialogue checks are succeeded with ease, and it really allows you to dive deep into all the things the game has to offer outside of just combat. Personally, I'm having a lot of fun experiencing this part of the game more in depth, and I really hope that you will as well. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you on Baldurs Gate 3.